Have you ever received your paycheck and felt relief for just a moment? The money hits your account, and for a few seconds, life feels lighter. You look at the number on your screen and think, okay, I'm fine. I made it through another month. And maybe, for a brief moment, you even feel a little hopeful. You think about paying your bills, buying groceries, catching up on things you've been postponing, and maybe even saving a little. But then something happens. A few days pass, maybe a week, and suddenly, that same paycheck that looked so comforting now feels much smaller than you expected. The balance goes down. The bills keep coming. The card gets used. A few small purchases happen almost without thinking. And before long, you find yourself looking at your bank account and asking the same question so many people ask every month. Where did it go? This is Finn Parker. Finn is not a millionaire. He is not completely broke either. He is just a normal person trying to do what millions of people do every day: earn money, pay for life, and hopefully build a little stability. He works hard. He gets paid. He tries to be responsible. And like many people, he used to believe that if he simply worked enough and earned enough, everything would eventually feel under control. But money rarely feels under control just because it arrives. This month, Finn receives his paycheck, $2,543 after taxes. At first, the number feels pretty solid. It looks like enough. Enough to breathe. Enough to catch up. Enough to handle the month. And that's the first illusion of the paycheck. A paycheck always looks bigger before the month starts using it. When the money first arrives, it feels full of possibility. But possibility disappears quickly when reality begins to collect what it is owed. For Finn, the first thing that hits is rent, then utilities, then groceries, then transportation, then the phone bill, then internet, then the minimum credit card payment, then the streaming subscriptions he barely notices anymore. And after that come all the little things. A coffee on a tired morning, a quick delivery order after a long day, a small online purchase because it was only a few dollars, a snack, a refill, a convenience fee, a forgotten renewal. None of these things feel dramatic on their own. That's what makes them dangerous. Most people imagine financial stress comes from one huge mistake. But very often, money disappears through a long chain of ordinary decisions. Nothing feels extreme. Nothing feels reckless. And yet, together, those decisions quietly drain the account. That is why paychecks disappear so fast. Not because life always explodes, but because life keeps charging. And if you don't slow down long enough to see where the money is going, the month will spend it for you. Finn starts to notice this when he looks through his transactions. One by one, the numbers begin to tell a story that feels familiar. The paycheck came in. Then the fixed expenses took their share. Then the flexible expenses expanded to fill the space that was left. And then the small expenses started stacking on top of each other. This is the part most people underestimate. Small expenses do not feel important in the moment. $5 feels harmless. $10 feels harmless. $15 feels manageable. Even $20 can feel small when you're tired, busy, or stressed. But repetition changes everything. A subscription that costs $12 a month becomes $144 a year. A lunch that costs $15 3 times a week quietly turns into more than $2,000 a year. A few delivery orders every month become hundreds of dollars. Convenience is never just one purchase. It is a habit, and habits are expensive when they happen automatically. Now, this does not mean Finn needs to stop enjoying life. It does not mean coffee is evil. It does not mean fun is irresponsible. That is not the lesson. The lesson is awareness. Because you cannot control money you do not understand. And you cannot direct money if you never stop to notice where it naturally flows. So Finn decides to do something simple. Not complicated. Not perfect. Just simple. He sits down at his table with his phone, his receipts, and his notebook. For the first time, instead of just reacting to the month, he starts organizing it. He creates 4 categories: needs, wants, debt, savings. Needs are the things that keep life functioning: rent, food, transportation, utilities, insurance, basic bills. Wants are the things that make life more enjoyable: eating out, entertainment, shopping, upgrades, extras, convenience. Debt is money already promised to the past, and savings is money sent forward to protect the future. This changes something for Finn almost immediately. Not because his income changes, not because his bills disappear, but because the fog starts to clear. For the first time, he can actually see the full picture. He can see what must be paid. He can see what is optional. He can see what is draining him. And he can see where small changes might actually create breathing room. That is what a budget really does. A budget is not there to punish you. It is not there to make life boring. It is not there to shame you for spending money. A budget is a map. And when you have a map, you stop wandering blindly. You may still have limits. You may still have bills. You may still have to make trade-offs. But at least now you know where you are. And that matters. Because awareness creates choice. Finn realizes that he does not need to fix everything overnight. He does not need a perfect system by tomorrow. He just needs a clearer relationship with his money. So he starts small. He cancels one subscription he barely uses. He decides to cook at home a couple more times each week. He sets a simple amount aside for savings before spending on extras. He pays a little more attention to what happens after payday instead of assuming things will somehow work themselves out. And slowly, the feeling changes. Not instantly, not dramatically, but steadily. He no longer feels like his paycheck is disappearing into a black hole. Now it has direction. Now it has a plan. And that is the real turning point. Financial control rarely begins with more money. It often begins with more clarity. Because when you see your money clearly, your decisions become clearer too. You stop asking only, how much did I make? And you start asking a better question. What do I want this money to do for me before it disappears? That question changes everything. Because every dollar has a job, whether you assign it or not. Some dollars will go to rent. Some will go to food. Some will go to transportation. Some will go to debt. Some will disappear into habits. And some, if you choose carefully, can start building protection, peace, and future freedom. Your paycheck does not disappear by magic. It disappears because life is always waiting to claim it. And if you do not step in with intention, urgency, convenience, and routine will make the decisions for you. So the next time you get paid, pause for a moment. Before the month starts spending for you, ask yourself, what needs to be covered? What can wait? What is pulling money out of my life without adding much value? And what small decision could help me feel more in control by the end of the month? You do not need to become perfect with money. You just need to become aware enough to guide it. Because once you understand where your paycheck goes, you stop feeling powerless. And when you stop feeling powerless, you can finally start building something better. If you want to understand money in a simple way, subscribe to Money Made Simple. Here, we explain finance in plain English, one simple story at a time.